So another rough game for the Giants as they fall to Baltimore 13-27. Not really a surprise. I had them losing by 13 in my pregame video or a preview video. So it's not much of a surprise. It honestly should have been by more, but Gus Edwards fumbled on like the 1 yard line, so that helped us. But yeah, I guess there were some positives here. A lot of negatives too, but I guess there were some positives. For the division, we need Dallas to win. Washington's losing right now by 17 in the third quarter, so that's really good. Dallas just went up before halftime, so that's a positive. If they can somehow get that win, we go into Week 17 with at least some hope that we can maybe make the playoffs and win the NFC East. So I'll take that. I'll take Week 17 as being a meaningful one. That would be nice, but if not, then the Giants' playoff hopes are over for 2020. So let's go over the game. So offense, no turnovers once again for Daniel Jones. He looked good, not great. Did miss some throws, but I will say this. Daniel Jones did a good job of taking what the defense was giving him. A lot of it was like prevent in a way. They were giving away the underneath routes, and Daniel Jones was taking them. Put together some pretty decent stats. His numbers were 24 of 41. Not the best completion percentage, but 252 yards, one passing touchdown, which we don't see too much. He was sacked 6 times. We'll get to that later. So I would say overall, a pretty good performance from Daniel Jones. Could have been better. Could have hit some deep balls, of course, but it wasn't too bad. So I'll take that as a nice performance for Daniel Jones. Offensive line looked really good in the first half. I was saying that in the first quarter, even second quarter. They were looking pretty good. But then once the second half came around, there was a drive in the third quarter where Daniel Jones was sacked on 3 consecutive plays, which is inexcusable, honestly. Matt Parrott was pretty lost on those plays. They allowed 6 total sacks. Andrew Thomas did look solid most of the game, I will say that. I think most of the sacks came from the right side of the line, which was Matt Parrott basically. He had a rough series in there at one point, let up a couple of sacks. So there is that. We'll go over all the sacks in the film review as we always do. Ingram and Shepard played well. Ingram did get hurt on like the final drive, I think it was, so that's something to watch out for, but there is one game left. I really hope that Evan Ingram can play 16 games, but it might not be a reality. We'll see though. He had 7 for 65, Ingram, 7 catches, 65 yards, and Sterling Shepard, 9 catches for 77 yards. Pretty good performance there. Not many other big receiving games. Even Dante Pettis made an appearance. He had 2 for 33. Nice to see him in there. I saw a guy number 13 catch the ball, and I was like, who the hell is that? But it was Dante Pettis. I had no idea he was active, so that was a nice surprise. Rough game for Darius Slayton. And Darius Slayton, look, he's not a wide receiver 1. I think we get it by now. He's definitely a wide receiver 2. If that, I hope he can be that. But he had a tough time adjusting to a catch that was kind of over his shoulder. It was a tough catch. He had time with contested catches. Like, he has to get better at those things of tracking the ball, making contested catches. The drops are pretty bad sometimes. So, yeah, Darius Slayton has to be better. I think we all know that. He was a late-round pick. It's not like this guy's a first- or second-round pick, so you're not expecting a lot. But we've seen the good side of Darius Slayton, so we know he's capable of a lot more than this. So hopefully this is one more game of Jason Garrett. I'm hoping this is his last game. I hope next week against Dallas. It's a rematch against his former team. So hopefully it's the last game of Jason Garrett. If you want him gone, I guess the Giants scoring no points against Dallas would be a benefit for you. But if they still are mathematically alive for the NFC East, I'd rather win that game, honestly. But if you want Jason Garrett gone, then I think he'll be gone regardless. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even if the Giants make the playoffs this year, which is probably a long shot, but if they do make the playoffs, I don't know how you can really take back Jason Garrett. And people ask why he's not been fired yet. I mean, this is like John Mara's friend or something apparently, so it's like he's not going to just fire him mid-season and humiliate him in a way. You could say the same thing about the GM as well. I mean, these guys are close, of course, so they're not going to do that. So, I mean, that's kind of why he's still here. You don't want to change the offense completely. It's still going to be Jason Garrett's playbook for the most part. We saw Freddie Kitchens call plays, for the Browns game, and the offense did look better. They were going downfield more, but I feel like in this game, I kind of like the route concepts more. A lot of it was like they're going to send 2 or 3 guys deep. They had a couple underneath options for Daniel Jones, and as I mentioned before, he was taking a lot of the underneath options. So that was good. Maybe Jason Garrett has figured something out. I don't know why it would have taken 16 weeks to do it, or 15 in his case, but I guess better late than never. But yeah, I don't think he'll be back next year. He probably does not deserve to be back. Looking at Daniel Jones' statistics from year 1 to year 2, the one constant, or the one difference, I should say, is that Jason Garrett's here. I know Saquon Barkley was there most of his rookie year. He played like 12 or 13 games last year as compared to 2 this year. But Jason Garrett has done not so good of a job with the young quarterback for the Giants. So the Giants on offense were 1 for 10 on third down, 1 for 3 on fourth down. They had a couple of fourth downs towards the end they didn't get, so those are kind of just like whatever. It was garbage time. The third down numbers are concerning. The third down offense was getting better at one point during the year. This game was not good, of course, so 1 for 10. You're not going to win many games like that, so it has to be a lot better. And the offense was so bad at one point. I'll try to put the graphic in here for you guys, but I think at one point in the second quarter, the graphic showed that here's the differential here. So the Giants had 8 plays for 31 yards and 3 minutes and 52 seconds of time possession. This is with like 4 minutes left in the second quarter, remind you. So like we're almost at halftime. 3 minutes, 52 seconds of time of possession and 8 total plays. Baltimore, right before halftime, had 35 plays, 217 yards, and 21 minutes and 30 seconds of time possession. So this first half for the Giants was one of the worst offensive first halves you can ever have as a football team. So it was embarrassing, and this is why our offense is terrible. That's why we scored 13 points today. But hey, at least they scored a touchdown later, so I'll give them that. For the defense, they were missing tackles everywhere. I think Joe Judge even made a comment about it, like how surprising it was that guys were missing tackles. I saw specifically from McKinney, from Logan Ryan, from Isaac Yiadom, probably some more in there that I'm forgetting, but those are the guys that I really, that come to mind. I know Yiadom missed a tackle on Lamar Jackson, who's very shifty, I get it, but missed a tackle on him on third down. There was one with McKinney and Logan Ryan missed a tackle on Gus Edwards, who made a crazy play, tiptoeing on the sideline, cut back in, and almost scored a touchdown on that play. But you guys probably know what play it was. It was in the third quarter, I believe, but that was really a nice move by him. So anyway, 0 pass rush once again. I think Washington just recovered a fumble. Chase Young looks like he has the ball. Not good. Chase Young's a freaking monster. I wish we got that guy. But so 0 pass rush once again. It's a problem. The Giants had about 2 or 3 pressures in this game. I think Leonard Williams was the guy who got, 2 of them. There might have been another one in there that I'm forgetting, but no sacks on Lamar Jackson. There was one time I thought they had Lamar Jackson, but he's a magician. He finds a way to get out of these things. He spins out of it, turn it into like a positive gain. I think you guys don't know what play it is. They got like 6 yards on the play to make it like 4th and 4 or something. So Lamar Jackson's really good. Tough to sack, but the Giants, regardless, do not have much pass rush. The broadcast was showing how much time he had to throw. There was times where it was 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and the NFL is just unacceptable. Like, this is not backyard football where you're counting to 6 Mississippi for the guy to throw the ball. You have to have a pass rush in the NFL. The Giants don't have it, and it's frustrating because we had guys that could do it. We had JPP, we had Romeo Okwara, but now we settled for these guys that really aren't that great. And I know some guys are injured, like Fackrell and O'Shane and Lorenzo Carter. But even those guys aren't like household names. They're not fantastic. They help. They would help. But it's not like those guys would make all the difference in the world here. So it's a shame. The Giants have to get themselves a pass rusher. You guys, if you watch my offseason wish list video, the early edition of it, I want Shaq Barrett from the Bucs. He would be a really nice source of pass rushing. So maybe they find a way to make that happen, or someone like that. We'll find out. But this is unacceptable. The Giants basically are trying to rush the passer with 3 defensive tackles. I mean, I guess one of them is Leonard Williams, so that's fine. But Dalvin Thomas and Dexter Lawrence are not going to get you that many sacks. It's not really what they're there for. And then you have guys like Cam Brown and even Carter Coughlin or whoever on the outside, your ball sheared, trying to get sacks for you. And it's like not going to happen too many times. So it is what it is. Leonard Williams had a couple of pressures. I talked about that one before. Another breakdown in the end zone. So this one annoyed me. We'll go over that in the film review. I think I read somewhere from, maybe it was Dan Duggan on Twitter, that one guy was in man coverage, one guy was in zone. There probably was some type of miscommunication there. It was the Dez Bryant play. And last week we saw this with Devontae Downs and Austin Hooper on the Browns. He left them wide open in the end zone. This was another instance where Dez Bryant had no one within 10 yards of him in the back of the end zone, and Lamar Jackson easily found Dez Bryant, making it feel like 2012, 2013, when Dez Bryant is still killing the Giants, and we're here in 2020. So that was kind of funny, but unacceptable. Can't have it. If they beat you because the guy made a contested catch and it was really good, then so be it. If the quarterback made an awesome laser throw through a tight window, then so be it. But when the quarterback is just back there lobbing a throw when the receiver has nobody around them, like, you have to kind of point fingers and be like, what the hell's going on here? Because that stuff cannot happen. So not good. Baltimore was 8 for 11 on third down, so not a good job by our defense there. I'm just watching Dwayne Haskins. This guy is actually so bad. I think Haskins has a fumble 2 picks. I mean, he's just not good. I don't know why he's starting. You might as well have called up some guy from the practice squad. It's pretty ugly for Haskins. Definitely his last year in Washington, I think. Anyway, so Baltimore 8 for 11 on third down. Have to do a better job there. I know that they have a very, very athletic and shifty quarterback, but they really couldn't cover Mark Andrews. They did a pretty good job on Marquise Brown. That was my one thing in the pregame video that I did, or preview video. Don't let Marquise Brown beat you deep. I think Brown scored a touchdown early, but that was like from 5 or 10 yards out, so there was that. But for the most part, they did a good job of containing him. I think James Bradbury was on him a lot, so he did a good job on him there. The Giants did allow 249 rush yards, which is the problem. Baltimore is the number 1 rushing team in football. They rush the ball the most. They rush for the most yards, and you can tell why. They have J.K. Dobbins, who did get hurt at one point in like the third quarter, but they brought Gus Edwards, some undrafted guy, in who just, played well. So they were fine. Lamar Jackson, of course, was doing his thing as well. So 249 total rushing yards. Not good. The Giants on the season have had a good rushing defense, but when you play a team like Baltimore, you've got to go above and beyond to really stop them on the ground for a full 60 minutes. But unfortunately, that was not the case. So I will put it this way. The Giants, of course, need things to... Oh, look at that. Dwayne Haskins made a nice throw. And there's Cam Sims about to go for a touchdown. Okay, they tackled him. Okay, so there is that. But, yes, hopefully Washington, they find a way to lose this game. It might be 20-10 after this, but I think, I feel pretty good about that. I don't really fear Washington's offense being too explosive. The Philly game I'm a little concerned about because Jalen Hurts he looks really good. So we'll find out what happens, but hopefully the Cowboys win. You guys probably know by the time I upload this, but... honestly, we'll talk about what I'm rooting for next week when the results are put out there. I will say this. If the Giants are eliminated from the playoffs today, I'd probably rather lose next week. I know you can call me a fake fan or whatever, but this is like why we missed out on Chase Young, who's a monster now, like stuff like that. Like I'd rather have like the 6th or 7th pick than the 9th or 10th pick, So I think it makes the most sense to lose next week if they're out of the playoffs. Like there's nothing to play for. I know the Giants are going to try as a team, which is fine. I'm not saying don't try, but like I feel like as a fan's perspective or from a fan's perspective, you'd rather have the better draft pick. It's 1 week of rooting to lose. It's really not that bad, and we saw what happened last year with Chase Young, who looks really good. So there was that. I think I went over everything. Once again, I can't say I was disappointed. I had the score I had mine as 10-23 Baltimore, so it was close. Not exactly, but it was close. So can't say I'm disappointed, but the offense, man, it's bad. It has to get better. And we play a defense in Dallas next week that's really not good whatsoever. It'll either be our last game of the year or a game that propels us to the playoffs. Hopefully it's the latter portion of that. I would still like to make the playoffs. I mean, you want to get that playoff experience. It might not be the same without fans. I'm sure it's a much different experience, but at the same time, it'd be nice to get some playoff experience for our young players, and hopefully this is a playoff team going forward. But we'll find out. It's a long shot, but you never know, so we'll see. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave in the comments your reaction to this game. There might be some bad stuff, might be some good stuff, probably more bad stuff. I don't want to talk about other stuff. I'm not going to talk about GM and all that. I'll make I have a video coming out soon for you guys, like the community page thing that I have. So if you want to ask a question, go ahead and do that in my community page. I'll try and get to it soon. I'll probably have a video out in the next few days for that. So we'll get to that stuff in that video. I'm sure people will ask draft questions. I've only watched the quarterbacks and wide receivers, so like that's pretty much all I've got so far. I have my eye on Devontae Smith. He looks good, but outside of that, I'm not really sure. I don't know if the Giants are going to go for a quarterback in year 3, but I guess we'll find out. It depends who the GM is, what Joe Judge wants. I think it's most fair, honestly. We might go off on a little thing here, but I think it's fair to give Daniel Jones year 3 with a better team and a new offensive coordinator. That's not terrible, but I know it's hard to learn a new system right away in year 3. So, I mean, this is 3 different offensive coordinators. But, like, we saw a guy in Baker Mayfield do it for the Browns this year who had basically 3 different head coaches, or was it 4? 3 different head coaches in 3 years. And he was fine in his 3rd year. So, like, if he can do it, I feel like Daniel Jones might be able to do something similar to that. So you really can't make excuses. The Giants just have to get themselves a better play caller, a more creative play caller, and get themselves a wide receiver 1. Because all the Giants really need on offense is a healthy Saquon Barkley and a wide receiver 1. Like, the offensive line, it has its issues, but you're hoping that the young guys can grow and develop. And if they do, then they'll be in a pretty good spot, because all of a sudden you'll have a pretty good offensive line with young pieces, plus Saquon Barkley, who I don't know how long he's going to be here, but they have to extend him if they're going to do that. But he's here under contract next year. They still have Sterling Shepard under contract. Darius Slayton's still here. Evan Engram is on his 5th-year option, so there's that. So if they just add a wide receiver 1 and get a healthy Saquon back, all of a sudden you have some pretty good weapons. So I feel like that would be a good enough supporting cast for a quarterback like Jones. So we'll find out, but I think he deserves it. If there's an instance in the draft for a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance fall to the Giants, I would personally have a hard time saying no to that. But I am mentally prepared for Daniel Jones in year 3. That's what's going to happen, I feel like. I mean, I guess anything could happen, because when a new GM comes in, Daniel Jones is not a Joe Judge guy, so anything can happen. But at the same time, I feel like the Giants would probably lean in that direction. Like, Daniel Jones has looked pretty good, not fantastic, but pretty good since that Tampa game, so I'll put it that way. He's also playing kind of injured right now. He didn't run much today. He ran for 3 yards, so he probably did not have that element to his game, so there is that. But I think he deserves year 3. He hasn't been a complete, it hasn't been a complete debacle down the stretch. He's been pretty good, so I think he deserves it. But I guess we'll find out, but hopefully he does. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you for, I guess, the film review on Tuesday. I might do the community page thing tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever it is, but I'll talk to you guys next time.